Items, both active and passive, are essential to Pokémon Unite's gameplay. The variety of items let a single Pokémon have multiple builds or playstyles. And today I have a special guest, a fellow Pokémon Unite content creator, Hepodix, and we decided to share 4 things we'd want to see in the future of Pokémon Unite items.
Absolutely, and hello PHFaust. Thanks for having me on the channel, and yes, we are going to talk about different items to come, and because this game needs to have some new things coming up for it. It needs to spice up things, so I'm very excited to talk about this. So
I'll start off with my number 1, the inclusion of Smite. If you don't know what Smite is a League of Legends ability that where a player is able to deal true damage to a creeper mob. It is really good for securing objectives. In Pokemon Unite, having Smite will be able to stabilize Pokemon Unite junglers with their roles as someone who is supposed to take objectives. Fluffy Tail does exist in the game, yes, but it isn't really a good item for secure objectives. Nowadays, junglers don't use Fluffy Tail because most objective fights still end up being a gamble, still a 50-50 even with Fluffy Tail. Junglers really rely more on good burst abilities like Talonflame's Fly or Dragonite's Hyper Beam. Smite will let junglers realize that they have to be in objective fights because they know they can secure objectives way better than anyone else in the game.
I definitely do like the idea of Smite. It's kind of funny that you can implement other good ideas from other MOBAs, but it really could change things up. Like you mentioned about the smiting abilities, or quote-unquote smiting abilities that do excel in the game with the high flat damage, such as Talonflame's Fly and the Dragonite's Hyper Beam. It's always a coin flip on those cases, and Fluffy Tail feels inconsistent in that regards. Because at least in my experience, it's been lately on those games, if I play jungler or center position, it's that I like to play something that can secure objectives. Dreadnought, Rotom, Zapdos, you name it. The inclusion of those high smiters can really guarantee that, especially Dragonite. The smite inclusion could balance things out and give room for other jungle Pokemon as well. So I definitely would like to see something like this added to the game, or rework Fluffy Tail.
The fact that you're able to have more viable junglers or center Pokemon makes it so that there's more variety in the game. You don't have to have the usual Talonflame, Dragonite to rely on specific abilities to get objectives.
Absolutely. So we need this. We need either reworking Fluffy Tail or give it another new battle item to spice things up. That's how I would see it, and it's a great idea nonetheless. So my first battle item idea will be, shocker, surprising, taking another one from League. It's sort of like those who have played League probably knows what exhaust is. So some sort of weakener battle item could be a good thing. Let's say some Pokemon in certain patches like Serena and Dragonite at the time of making this video are very powerful. So something that could weaken the carry for a certain period of time. Like exhaust in League of Legends would slow the enemy and also weaken their stats like attack and defense and whatnot. Because sometimes the carries do get very snowbally early on, and it feels like very hard to shut them down. So this could give some room to like actually shut those carries down easily. What do you think?
Yeah, definitely something exhaust is gonna be a good thing for Pokemon Unite because yeah, you did mention Serena and Dragonite. When those Pokemon get going, it's almost impossible for you to deal with them. So having something exhaust makes it so that because one thing that I think is a problem with Pokemon Unite is if one team's ahead, it's so hard for the opposing team to catch up to the winning team because you don't really have some mechanic that makes it so that you're able to get more levels when you're behind.
Yeah, especially if the teammates do not coordinate and actually try to focus that quote-unquote hyper carry, then it's very difficult. Or you don't have something like Slowbro, then can just unite move this hyper carry, and then the teammates will like shut this guy together down. In an addition of exhaust would help this kind of situation for sure. To try shut down those hyper carries if they get out of the way and get snowbally super fast.
With something like this, you'll be able to have more viable laners. For example, if you have Cinderace, which we all know it's not really that good for laning. Whenever people pick Cinderace, you'd prefer Cinderace to be in jungle.
Yes.
Because you need the levels to be able to fight. But with something exhaust, you're able to protect yourself You have a more viable option for fighting in lane. There are times I think exhaust might be more helpful than having an eject in certain cases. So something like that I think will make it so that more Pokemon will be more viable in lane.
You could probably still like cleanse the exhaust thing with something like full heal. So there could be a counter option to that as well. So that could definitely give some more options and varieties to come. So I would love to see something along those lines. Not necessarily like a true copy paste from League, but something along those lines. Something very similar to that could be very welcome to Unite as well.
Yeah, and there's something new I want to see in Pokemon Unite, my number 3, which is items that scale with Pokemon levels. Now,
Oh,
the
yeah.
best items are items that scale with HP, special attack, or attack because they get better the longer the game gets. We have Body Barrier, which is a perfect example of this. It provides shielding in the late game because Pokemon get more HP with more levels, and Body Barrier basically becomes more effective with more HP. So problematic items like Shell Bell and Rocky Helmet, they don't really scale. And these items' effects are very essential to their use in battles. So if they proc way too little, they end up being useless in a game. I think it's understandable that these items have long cooldowns. Because if you have Rocky Helmet, for example, having a really short cooldown, the item will be way too broken because you're gonna deal so much damage from the start to the end of the game. So I think having a static cooldown hinders these items. Having CDR or cooldown scale with levels to make the items not too broken in the early game and more effective in the late game. Basically balancing them out to make so that they're not too broken or too useless. And it's not necessarily just cooldown that could work with level scaling. There probably are other stats that we can hope to see in the future. We just have to wait and see what Pokemon Unite can do with level scaling items. You think level scaling items are a good addition to the game?
I mean, it could give some variety to the game, and given the fact how valuable still Zapdos and Articuno encounters are at the 2-minute mark, and the focus on the late game is still there, but scaling towards late game, I mean, I can see its ups and downs. Like some people could see them as a little boring, maybe that you just have to wait so you get those stackings going on, you get those stats, and you can actually feel the oomph on the like last 2 or 3 minutes. But in other hand, I mean, sure, why not? Like it could give some more options and more variety to the game. So I don't necessarily see it as a bad thing, but at least like more variety and options are always like welcome. Like you said, special attack and HP do stack well with like the scoring items too, like AOS cookie and attack weight and special attack specs. Those do scale well when you get those chip-in points. So something in a similar style of that, but they actually evolve due time. I mean, yeah, sure. And I think something like cooldown reduction as a stat will be very interesting to add to this kind of system as well. So, yeah.
We have no idea yet if it's gonna work well in the game, but I think something that scales outside of HP attack or special attack might be good.
And I do have the fourth item I came up with. We had like 2 and 2 with Faust here. So will be also a held item, which I'm very, very curious to talk about. So moving to the last item, it's going to be another held item that I'd like to see in the game. And it's a little copy pasta from League again. But those who know Mejai Soulstealer from League, is basically that you get kills in the game and you stack a certain stat to your character. For example, special attack or normal attack in Pokemon Unite's case. It could be, it's sort of a gambler thing that if you do get kills or assists, you get a certain amount of stacks, and the more stacks you have, the higher your special attack is, or the higher your attack stat is. Let's call them like Gambler's Spellbook and Gambler's Knife. So you could have like 2 versions of this. The spellbook would give you more special attack the more kills you do, but if you do die, you will lose some of the stacks. The same way it works on League. But the attack damage version will be the knife. So you get kills on the character, you get higher attack stat, but also if you die, you lose some of the stacks. I think something along those lines, something high risk, high reward type of held item, that you stack a certain stat when getting kills. It will be a great addition. What do you think?
I mean, definitely the fact that you're adding a new way of scaling or stacking. Like we just talked about scaling with levels, so being able to scale a different way, just like by with assists or kills, I think that will make it so that there's a different way of scaling. Because right now, right, if you want to stack, if you like doing stacks, you need to stack with points. That's the only way you can do stacking right now, because that's the only stacking option there is. So being able to stack by being aggressive will make it so that you can reward players that are hyper aggressive. You have Pokemon that would want to scale more damage but aren't necessarily gonna be able to get a lot of points. Your attackers are gonna have a really hard time of stacking if they don't have Score Shield. And even if they have Score Shield, their HPs are very low and makes it hard for them to stack with scoring. I think it makes it so much more interesting. I'm not sure really about the whole losing stacks if you're dying, which I mean for a game like League of Legends, I understand, because a game of League of Legends is pretty long. But with Pokemon Unite, I'm not sure if I feel the way that you're gonna lose stacks.
Yeah, it will work with Pokemon like Absol, who doesn't excel on scoring, but he does excel on picking up kills, especially early game. So he could utilize something like this. For example, now that you mentioned it, I'm not sure about the penalizing part of it. Because yeah, the games are short. That would anyone even pick up the item if it had that penalizing thing that if you do die, that you lose some of the stacks? Maybe you would have to scrape that one off. So now that I actually think of it, maybe yeah. but yeah, as an option, that would be great, and that would definitely give some variety to the game, and I would love to see something like this implemented to Unite for sure.
And those are the 4 things that we'd want to see in the future of Pokemon Unite items. I'm not sure what you feel about our suggestions, if you agree with what I said or what Hepodix said. So comment down below what you think about the future of Pokemon Unite items. And if you enjoyed this video, I would really appreciate if you comment, like, and subscribe. If you want to see more of Hepodix, check out the video that we made on his channel. I'll link it in the description down below.
Yeah, and thanks for having me, and whoever made it far in this video, I really appreciate you watching as well. Definitely go check out my channel and the video we made with Faust on there. And yeah, these were great ideas, and let me know down in the comments what you guys think. Do you think these are good or bad ideas? I'm very curious to know as well, and yeah, hope you guys gonna have a wonderful day.
Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Bye! I love Floatstone on paper, the stats sound great, but the actual values are terrible. Like, they have to rework some of the stats on some of the held items, on the current held items too. But the inclusion of new ones will be also great.